What's up, guys? It's Johnson and welcome to another video. So many people think that of the 4 wildcard matchups this weekend, when Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks visit Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles, many people think that matchup is going to lead to the biggest blowout. But don't count the Philadelphia Eagles out because they have Carson Wentz. This man, he has single-handedly kept the Eagles in the playoffs. And it's he's the reason why the Philadelphia Eagles won the NFC East. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, they've had injuries all over the place. They've had injuries at wide receiver, injuries at running back, injuries on the offensive line, injuries at cornerback, injuries all over the field. And it's been an utter disaster for Philadelphia this year in terms of injuries. And injuries alone have decimated what I thought would be a Super Bowl contender into a team that has looked mediocre at best. But Carson Wentz and head coach Doug Peterson have these guys fighting. They've just continued to fight and grit and grind, and they have gotten the wins they've needed to get. And I don't care that they're only 9-7. The fact of the matter is that they had enough wins to win the NFC East, and they're in the playoffs, so they're going to be alive, guys. I mean, we have to keep into account that Carson Wentz's best receiver throughout this final chunk of the season has been Greg Ward. This guy came out of the AAF. I mean, the league doesn't even exist anymore. And this is their starting receiver. That's how bad it's gotten for Philadelphia. But the X factor for Philadelphia is going to be J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Because we know what Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert can do. These are great tight ends. Great run blockers. Obviously, they're a factor in the passing game as well. And Miles Sanders, he's a dynamic running back. Obviously, he's coming off an injury, but I expect him to be his usual good self. And Boston Scott, I really like this guy. He's dynamic. He's a little bit on the shorter end, but he's definitely, at the very least, a change of pace back for Philadelphia. Reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. But at the end of the day, they're going to need someone at the wide receiver position. And Greg Ward, although he's been good, he hasn't been, amazing. But Arcega-Whiteside has the potential to be amazing. That's why Philadelphia drafted him in the second round. And I really like the drafting of Arcega-Whiteside. I think he's good. But he hasn't showed up this year. And that's been the bottom line. But if he can make some big plays against Seattle, especially considering the fact that Greg Ward will probably be covered by Shaquille Griffin, one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL, for most of the game. And I really feel like Jadeveon Clowney and KJ Wright are going to really stop Miles Sanders in the running game from being too prosperous. Obviously, Arcega-Whiteside is going to have to take advantage. And Carson Wentz needs all the help he can get. Because he's going to need the surrounding parts around him to be well. I really like Carson Wentz, but he can't do it alone. He's going to need at least some help. That's why Arcega-Whiteside becomes the X factor for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And if Arcega-Whiteside's good, I mean, Philadelphia could upset the Seattle Seahawks. And obviously, Arcega-Whiteside's the key in my opinion. Now, let's look at the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Injuries have completely decimated this lineup. I really thought that the Philadelphia defense was going to be a top 10 defense heading into this year, but obviously they've suffered so many injuries, especially at cornerback. That's where they're most hurt. I mean, it's so bad for Philadelphia defense that they're playing third stringers in key starting positions, and that's how bad it's gotten, honestly. But the stars that are healthy need to show up. Fletcher Cox, obviously, he needs to show up. He needs to be a pass rushing threat. As well as Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins, the star safety, he's going to need to make sure that there's no big plays. He's going to have to definitely provide some insurance for these third-string cornerbacks. Malcolm Jenkins, obviously a key piece. But at the end of the day, they just don't have enough. Russell Wilson's going to be too much. I really like the Seattle team. They depend on the run, though. The problem is that Chris Carson and Rashad Penny and CJ Prosise, they're all on IR right now. Not a great time for Seattle. So that's why the X Factor becomes Travis Homer. I know everyone's hyped up about Marshawn Lynch, and clearly I think that he's going to definitely play a role in a Seattle playoff run. But Homer's going to have to be the main running back, in my opinion. I was very impressed with this guy. I have to be honest. I didn't know much about him heading into that Week 17 matchup against San Francisco, but he showed a little bit of dynamic ability. I think he could be a good receiver out of the backfield as well as a good running back. Obviously, Seattle, a team that depends on the run, they're going to need Homer to produce some big plays. He becomes the X factor for them because if he can get going, that will enable Russell Wilson to take shots down the field. We all know that Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, David Moore, these wide receivers are for real. They're really good. Not to mention Jacob Hollister. I mean, this guy is a good tight end. Obviously, I mean, Seattle, they really didn't have a legitimate tight end, but Jacob Hollister has really stepped up when no one has expected him to, and he's played well. And I just like Seattle. I think there's too much. Pete Carroll is a great head coach, obviously. One of the best in the league. And, I mean, Doug Peterson's going to have to scheme up a near-perfect game in order for Philadelphia to win. So, I'm going to go with Seattle. I'm going to say Seattle Seahawks 24-17. And, I mean, it's no fault of Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. They're going to put in a good effort, and they're going to have a shot to win. But at the end of the day, I think that the Seattle Seahawks just have too much talent on both sides of the ball. And even though they're inconsistent, the Seattle Seahawks, even though they don't really blow out teams, I still feel like this is a legitimate title contender because they have Russell Wilson, and that's not something that any other team can say. I mean, other than Kansas City, who has Patrick Mahomes, who's arguably better. But other than that, when you look at the NFC, there isn't a quarterback playing better than Russell Wilson right now. So, Seattle, even though their talent isn't as good as New Orleans or San Francisco, they're going to be a real title contender. So, watch out if Seattle gets out of this alive. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'll be providing with more NFL and NBA hot takes as the season goes on, and have a good day.